Plus Talk 101. I'm going to be going over the chaotic trade deadline we just had today. Um, First off, the biggest move of the day, my Broncos getting rid of a premier pass rusher again. Um, Not too happy about this, honestly. Uh, I understand that there's a lot of contracts that are going to have to be signed, like Patrick Surtain, and I think we're probably going to try to keep Sutton. Javante Williams is going to want to be paid eventually, but I think this was more so to restock in the draft. And I think that the Broncos are probably going to be rebuilding that offense and probably that offensive line and possibly a tight end. I'm not sure what they're going for. Their defense is playing very well. They have the number one pass defense and an above average run defense. Bradley Chubb was a great pass rusher. I understand we have Browning. He's a really good pass rusher, but that's all. I mean, I know we have depth, but it's gonna have an impact on our pass defense for sure this year. Um, and the first round pick isn't even next year's; it's 2024's first round pick. So, and honestly, and it's a contract thing. Bradley Chubb's last year in his rookie deal. Um, we have to pay a couple people, like I said, and I'm not happy about the trade at all. I hoped we would be able to work it out with him, but it just it gives the vibe that they're in rebuild mode, and I just don't know what they're trying to rebuild. If anything, you need to add to the architecture a little bit. Don't you think the coach has a little bit to do with it? I think they're just trying to contracts and trying to restock on draft picks. I don't get it right now, but that's the only positive thing that I can really take back from that. As for the Dolphins, uh, their only thing that was lacking was their defense, and they are going to use him. He's going to be very, very good there. He's going to get like 100% of the reps. I mean, he's a top five pass rusher in the league, in my opinion. I think you got Myles Garrett, T.J. Watt, Micah Parsons, and then the next two you could easily put Bradley Chubb in there. Maybe Von Miller, then Bradley Chubb. Um, Randy Gregory was doing really good for us as well. I think that's another reason probably why once Randy Gregory comes back alongside Browning, I think that'll be a really good tandem, but it's not for right now, obviously, Gregory being out for the year. This helps the Dolphins, though, a lot. I've been riding high on them all season long. I think this is this they were in like the top 6 or 7 echelon right now. I have them a little higher without Chubb. Now with Chubb in there, they're easily a top 4 team. I mean, the only teams you can really argue against them are the Bills, Chiefs, and the Eagles. And the Dolphins already beat the Bills without Chubb. I mean, to me, it makes them Super Bowl contenders for sure. Um, and a couple other trades that I'm going to discuss. Chase Claypool was traded to the Bears. I think this is just a complete this shows you how bad the Bears front office is. They have the worst front office in the entire NFL. Okay, you get rid of Allen Robinson, you get rid of Khalil Mack, you get rid of Roquan Smith. I mean, you're getting rid of all these pieces for all these draft picks, and then you trade away a second round pick for Chase Claypool. Chase Claypool's the third best receiver on that. Deontay Johnson and George Pickens are better than Chase Claypool. I mean, Claypool's one of those guys. He'll have a game every once in a while where he'll make some plays. He fumbles a lot. He drops a lot of passes, and he's not like a tough receiver. He's kind of a prima donna for being a not a number one receiver. This was, I think, an absolutely horrible move. I just think it's a slap in the face to Justin Fields. Like, this is the best you could do. Like, I hate the Bears, honestly. Bears. I grown up 2 hours from Chicago my entire life, and all I hear about is Bears fans thinking they're going to the. I remember they thought they were going to the Super Bowl with Mitch Trubisky and Kevin White. I thought that I knew Bears fans. I thought Kevin White was the next prodigy. ended up being one of the biggest wide receiver busts of all time. I think he was picked seventh overall and played in like I think 3 games in his career, 4 games maybe. I mean, they're front. I know they've interchanged pieces, but like a second round pick for the third best receiver on a very lackadaisical offense. I'm shocked with that one. Uh, there was a couple other moves. Naheem Hines I just saw was traded to the Bills. Uh, I like that. I think they need running backs. Devin Singletary is decent, but I mean, they played James Cook a little bit, and he looked really good. I think they're just doing that for depth. They got 3 running backs now. I think that was it's a good trade, but it was kind of pointless in a way. But in the Chubb trade, we also got back Chase Edmonds. Forewarning for any FanDuel DraftKings users: stay away from Broncos running backs. In the beginning of the year, obviously, I was high on Javante Williams, and ever since, Melvin Gordon has not done anything. And when they got Latavius Murray, he scored a touchdown each game he's been in now. 2 games in a row, he's had a touchdown. Now that takes away from his carries too. That gives them the option to be more of a passing team. He's a good pass protector and a third down kind of back, but like I just he's okay. I don't think he really helps any. Vikings got T.J. Hawkinson. I think this is kind of good for both ends. The Lions stocking up on some more draft picks. I think they're still building, obviously, and Hawkinson hasn't really done much for the Lions. For being a first round pick, a tight end first round pick, he was supposed. I mean, the first year he was great with Stafford, but ever since he's just been hurt, and even when he gets the ball, he's not that. I mean, he's like solid at pass blocking and solid at run blocking and solid at receiving. He's an all around tight end. I think he's kind of like a really good Kyle Rudolph, who was with the Vikings for a while. He's like a Kyle Rudolph to me. Decent addition. I think decent outcome at both ends. I think the Lions probably would have been just better off keeping him though, because he can run block pretty well, but he has been hurt a lot. And I know I'm missing one trade here. Oh yeah, Calvin Ridley to the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think this was a good move. I think that the Jaguars, their problem is their wide receiving group. Christian Kirk good, but he's not. I just don't think he's a number one. Um, and the Falcons get a player or get a second round pick and I believe a fifth. And for a player that's not even playing right now, I don't think he's really part of their future just because he was suspended for a year. And I mean, I think they were just trying to do a clean slate off that. So I think this is a great move on both parties. I think Ridley probably would have not been able to mentally get past it with the Falcons being suspended for a year. I mean, it probably takes a minute to get back to reality, but now he gets a fresh start with a good quarterback. He's going to be the number one guy there. Now they got Calvin Ridley and Christian Kirk. That's a solid wide receiving group. Evan Ingram could possibly benefit from it, as could Travis Etienne. But overall, the trade of the day, not happy with it. Got a first round pick, but we're not even going to be able to see it for 2 years. So uh, hoping that the Broncos can maintain something like before we take have that stretch where we have to play the Chiefs twice and play the Ravens. I think we got 2 games before that are winnable. I think we could play the Raiders and I can't remember the other team, but I know they're 2 winnable games. Um, so knowing that we got rid of our best pass rushers, I know we're gonna have some adversity or to overcome. But I think that we were the one of the best pass rushing teams in the league, so I don't think it's gonna have a huge effect on us because I think we have depth. But we'll have to see how these trades turn out. Again, Calvin Ridley, I think, will probably have the biggest impact of all these trades so far because next year I think he'll be a stud. He was a stud with Matt Ryan when he was a number two. Um, but Dolphins will definitely this puts them in the Super Bowl contender category for sure.